$16,766,645.70. That's how much he stole.
Unbelievable.
He dreamt of becoming the director of a funeral home. That was his dream. 223 trips on private jets to Santa Fe, New Mexico, Aspen, Colorado, Napa. Sandy and Kay Jenkins purchased a new automobile every time they needed an oil change. Hello and welcome. My name is Garth Sharif.
And I'm Josh Sager.
And you're listening to The Fraud Complex, a podcast where we unpacked wild true crime fraud stories without murders. Today on the show, have you ever had a moment when you put your complete faith in someone, maybe a friend, a colleague, or even family? You trust them with your secrets, your vulnerabilities, maybe even your livelihood. Then, in a gut-wrenching twist, they betray you. It's a story as old as time, a wound that cuts deeper than any other. And today, we're slicing, and there's going to be a lot of puns in this episode, into a case that's as rich and surprising as a holiday fruitcake, but with a much darker filling. This is the story of the fruitcake fortune heist, a tale of a beloved family business, an unassuming accountant, and a betrayal that cost millions and shattered their legacy. In fact, almost 17 million. The fraudsters thought, 17 million. Josh, we're just getting into this.
From
the
fruitcake.
Fraudsters from fruitcake, which tells you this company is doing all right. The fraudsters, Josh, let me get through this because I got a lot of puns. Like, get ready for this one with so many puns.
Continue.
The fraudsters thought it would be a piece of cake. Let's unpack this controversial baked good and the fraud that took place on this episode of The Fraud Complex. Josh, are you ready to get nuts?
See, that one took me by surprise. I'm ready. I am so ready.
Take a look at the first image number 1, Josh, and tell me what you're feeling when you look at that and what you're seeing.
I see disappointment. This is a picture of 4 fruitcakes, and it's those little gummy type fruit things. I feel like they're squishy. I don't love the texture. I feel sad for my childhood self who thought he was going to get a treat but got a piece of fruitcake instead.
And Josh, I'm glad you're undecided about this because it doesn't sound like it at the beginning. Because, listen, I don't want to make this a fruitcake hate podcast because people love fruitcake because somebody stole $17 million and the company was still profitable. So this company is doing all right. We'll get into it. But Josh, I don't know. You went back to childhood memories, as I did when I looked at this image and researched this case and foreshadowing something. I did send something to you, and we will open that magnificent delivery package later on.
So I know exactly what it is.
For those that are saying, should I wait till I know? Should I wait till the end of this? Yes, you should, because we're opening stuff up, and that's always worth waiting till the end. So this brings up, Josh, yes, there is a company that specializes in making fruitcake, and that's Collin Street Bakery. This is the beginning of our discussion on the fraud. Collin Street Bakery has been around for a while. What do you think one of their taglines are? A company that specializes in fruitcake. Give me the tagline for this company.
Your Christmas baker.
Your Christmas baker. I like that one. Funny, Christmas is not actually all that much on their website, but one of their taglines is baking memories since 1896.
Ooh, yeah, solid.
That's a long time. And when we talk about 1896, Josh, by the way, did you think 1896 when I told you there was a bakery specializing in fruitcake? Were you thinking the year 1896?
No, that's kind of a cool thing for me. The company's been around, a century. That's incredible.
It is amazing, right? So this company is old. It's been around. It's been baking up memories. I'm going to tell you who committed this fraud, okay? And it's a name that I don't think is too alarming. You'd hear it and think, this person committed fraud. Already a plain vanilla name, in my opinion. Our man, Sandy Jenkins, is the perpetrator. Josh, Sandy Jenkins was hired by the famous Collin Street Bakery in Corsicana, Texas, to be in their head office. Hired in 1998. Josh, what department do you think he was hired into?
This company's been running a long time, but they're scaling up. They're moving into, I don't know, something like accounts receivable.
Josh, you're on fire. You're very
Really?
close. That was really good.
Something
I thought-
boring, something businessy.
Boring, because boring is really an important thing with Sandy Jenkins. That's a really, wow. So you're very close. He was hired into the accounting department as the accounts payable.
Okay.
The other side, and payroll supervisor, making $25,000 a year. Wow, Josh. Again, that gift I sent to you is because you're getting every trivia question that I'm asking correct. According to the American Certified Fraud Examiner's occupational fraud report, more than half of all cases of fraud come from 5 departments inside the company. What do you think one of those departments are?
I feel like accounting is one.
No.
Unfortunately,
Gosh.
no disrespect.
Unfortunately. No, I know I'm a CPA and I'm sad to see this. 12% accounting.
Oh,
is,
only
is
12.
a big one.
I was going
Well,
to say
12%.
60.
Wow. Really have no faith in us, do you?
You're in the world and you're one step away from millions at every turn. It's my way I think of accountants. They could just one digit transfer over, Okay, 12%.
Well, yeah, 12%, but I mean, it's a big number considering that's half of the departments of where fraud comes from. There's some other departments, but yes, access is the big thing, right? And in the year 2000, Josh, our man Sandy Jenkins, was promoted to the corporate controller of the bakery. The FBI report calls the College Street Bakery, quote, the bakery. Like it's like, I don't know, it's just like the Ohio State football team, it's just the bakery, which means he's the top accountant. Josh, okay, this is where Texas Monthly comes into it. He is described as a shy and daydreaming accountant in the Texas Monthly.
Huh.
Josh, I want you to think about what he looks like, and what would you see of Sandy Jenkins in your mind? A man that
I see
is shy and daydreaming, but also stole nearly $17 million from this bakery.
Milton from Office Space, just a guy with like short sleeves and a little tie, and a little like, what is that word? Michael toast, like a little like shy.
Oh, milk toast.
Milk toast.
I think that's a bakery pun too. We're gonna count that.
Oh yeah, you can count that.
So Josh, I want you to open up image number 2, and tell me what you're looking at when you open up image number 2.
Oh, not far off. He seems like a very, kind of a lovable looking guy. Like he's a little on the chubby side, and like the kind of guy who seems like a jolly person at a Christmas party. Short sleeves.
He does.
He's got an accountant
Short
vibe.
sleeve. Again, I'm not sure how to take that, but
He's not a cool accountant like you. He's not like a cutting edge, rock star.
So that's only one half of a picture, by the way, Josh. I'm going to give you the second half later. So, but he looks sweet. He looks like a sweet guy. Like, come on, Sandy. Did you steal? No, Sandy, no. He's such an... He's got an interesting vibe, like a good person vibe. But we know he did bad things. Josh, here's the amount from the FBI that he stole. I already told you 17 million, but I want to give you the exact number from the FBI report. $16,766,645.70. That's how much he stole.
Unbelievable. From a fruitcake company.
From a fruitcake company. It's a lot of money, and that was one of the stunning things, is that, one, there's a company that specializes in fruitcake, and 2, Sandy could steal $17 million from this company. So, Josh, what we're going to do, we're going to use the fraud risk triangle to break this all down. We talked about this in our first episode, and we have the 3 elements: incentive, opportunity, and rationalization. Incentive is basically why, opportunity is how, and rationalization is what a person needs to tell themselves to say, this is okay to steal this from this company. And for this case, Josh, because I looked at this picture too, and I said, oh, what's going on in this guy's head? Well, who is Sandy Jenkins? I really wanted to get to know him, and that's where Texas Monthly was amazing. Who looks so sweet, and maybe a typical accountant, but shy, daydreamer. So, looking at the picture, Josh, just to get into the mind of Sandy Jenkins, let's get into the incentive. Like, why do you think Sandy Jenkins decided to bake up some fraud here? What was his incentive?
I mean,
What did he feel like he needed to do here?
the rom-com version in my head is he fell in love, and if he could only have that special girl, and maybe a Ferrari would help him get that girl. You know, I can see if he's a daydreamer, what's he thinking about? He's thinking of like a better life. He's thinking of like a life of luxury, for example.
Ooh. You are rising like fruitcake in an oven, Josh.
That's
That was a good take, and you're not far off. Thank you again, Katie and the Texas Monthly, because yes, Sandy is like a nondescript, everyday accountant. He had a miniature dachshund. You want to guess what his name was? Or her name was, or the dachshund?
Fruity.
You would think you would go back to the fruitcake. It was Maggie.
Maggie. Okay.
I guess we could go magpies? I don't know. I just want to make sure your head is still in the fruitcake pun world, and it is. That's good to know. And so he had his routines. This comes from the article. His biggest choice of the day was whether he had to go with his black or gray polo shirt. So he's a guy of routine, kind of nondescript. The article starts to get into some of the things that you have identified. Luxury of relationship. We're going to get into that. He had a dream job, Josh. It wasn't to be the corporate controller of Collins Street Bakery. Josh, if you get this, I'm going to retire from life because what do you think our man Sandy Jenkins' dream job was?
I don't know. He's so unassuming. He just seems so content. But maybe he wants to own the company. You know, maybe this is so he doesn't want to just like be an employee.
Right. Yeah, he wants to own the company. And part of this is, I imagine that's because he wanted to maybe have more control. That is not what his dream job was, Josh. This one will maybe surprise you. Did you ever watch the show 6 Feet Under?
Sure. Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
But why is that relevant? He dreamt of becoming the director of a funeral home. That was his dream.
He didn't need to steal 17 million. I feel like he could just inherit that job because someone's a father whose son doesn't want to go into the business, and Sandy could just step up. Like,
that was the whole thing in 6 Feet Under. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, so I didn't pull this thread, Josh, but the fact that was his dream job, and he ended up in Corsicana, where that fruitcake company is Corsicana, Texas. So it is high profile, but yeah, I mean, a director. I read that in the article, and I said, Sandy, you're very interesting. I'm interested in you, Sandy, because that's a left turn. That's putting fruit into a baked good that doesn't need to be there, but I'm interested.
Yeah.
So yeah, funeral home is what he wanted, and I think you're right. He could have maybe done that in another way, but he didn't. He ended up at the Collins Street Bakery. So he is underpaid from the beginning.
Yeah.
He did want a better car. He did want to retire in a financially secure position. So he did have that part of himself that you described, luxury. And we're going to get into that. But there was something more intrinsic that he wanted, Josh, based on his personality, which we've touched on a little bit, but I'll give you more detail. What do you think he wanted that he wasn't getting? And it's not an extrinsic thing. It's not something like money or a car or a house. There's something else he wanted, and it's in this article. And it made me like him more. What do you think that is?
Well, just having worked at companies, I feel like he wanted recognition. And, maybe he was a big part of the success, but he's not a native Texan. Maybe he doesn't feel like part of the gang or something like that.
You're not too far off. You are into that place where the biggest thing from this article I got about him is that he felt invisible. So that's a part of recognition. I really kind of, every time I talk about this and think about this guy, I feel empathetic to this criminal because we all want to feel visible, and just like a fruitcake, you see the visible parts. Actually, you only see the visible parts in a fruitcake. So I don't know where the invisible parts are, but I would like more invisible parts to a fruitcake. But he felt invisible. He felt like people didn't. He was like a ghost. people in Corsicana, it's a small place and people knew Sandy. They described him. What is a way do you think that people describe Corsicana now that you know he's a shy accountant, daydreamed, wanted to become director of a funeral home? Like, how do you think people described him?
Oh, well, I've been to Texas. I have family in Texas, and Texas has people with a lot of flavor. And there's a lot of good storytellers, and there's a lot of people that are fun at a party. This guy doesn't seem like he's going to fit that mold. And God bless him, he's maybe before he embezzled all this money was a good person, but I could see just feeling like you're not seen in a place like that. And remind me, where was he from, or was he from Texas?
Ooh, you know what? I'll have to look at that. I don't remember if I found out exactly where he's from.
Okay.
But he felt like an outsider.
He felt
Even
like
if
an
he
outsider.
was. So you're right on. In the article, people described him as having zero personality. That's how they describe Sandy, which, yeah. Now, Josh, Sandy had a wife. Her name is Kay. Now, Kay did not execute the fraud, but she definitely knew, because when I tell you what they spent the money on, you're going to be like, she knew. And the FBI knew she knew. Josh, without me describing Kay, what type of person do you think Kay is in comparison to Sandy? A quick aside here from our fruitcake case. If you are a CPA or IRS agent looking for verifiable ethics hours for your continuing education requirements, which and as I know, you probably get last minute in a panic towards your end. Well, you can get this episode and any other episode as a verifiable CPE credit by going to our website, onlinecpe.shreveconsulting.com, to get a version of this, which you will have to pay for. But not only you get the amazing energy that Josh and I bring and the whole fruitcake vibe of our this particular episode, but you get a certificate and you get verifiable hours. Shreve Consulting is a NASBA sponsor. And if you use coupon code fruitcake, you'll get 25% off this episode as a verifiable CPE course. So if you're thinking about this and you want this to be verifiable, you can go another direction and you'll see the website in our information. Thanks. Let's get back to fruitcake.
I mean, I feel like Kay is pulling some strings here, and Sandy is trying to meet her expectations in the best way he knows how. And I'm not saying he's not culpable. Obviously, he's the one who did the fraud, but maybe she was the motivation, and maybe he loved her and he felt attached and wanted to make her happy.
Oh, this is such a this is a sad story now. I mean, you're right on. So Kay, I was gonna wait on. Open up image 3, Josh. Open up. Complete the picture. Let's get a full picture of this couple, and I'm gonna bring a little tear to my eye.
Kay looks nice too, man.
Oh, I know. Look at the picture together.
Wow.
Look at that together. I kind of want to. I'd go to their house for dinner and for.
Are they on a jet?
Oh.
Whoa. Are they jet setters?
They're on jets. We're gonna get to the jets. We're gonna get to the jets, but yes, they're on a jet.
They seem
Many
like
jets.
a good pair. Like, if I was to look at these two, I'd be like, yeah, they seem good together. They seem happy, and she's a normal looking person like him. Like, neither of them are supermodels. They just seem like regular folks. And
they are regular folks, right?
Yeah.
And this is the way she's described. He was introverted. She was outgoing. She was just a lot of energy. This is something from the article. She was great big, and he's itty bitty. I don't know if that's a Texas euphemism, but
expression. That feels familiar to me, but man, I'm gonna start using that. She was great big, and he was itty bitty. You just know everything you need to know about the relationship.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of like, this is a romance. This is true romance. That's Christian Slater and was it Rosanna Arquette? I can't remember.
Oh,
Heather's, whatever way you want to go.
Yeah.
That's who they are. Kind of root for them now that we're setting this up. So we're setting up Kay and Sandy, and Josh, you need 3 main ingredients in a fruitcake, right? Mm-hmm. Dried fruits, nuts, and spices. And we got 2 of the 3. We got Sandy, and I think Sandy's the dried fruit. Okay? And we got Kay is the spice. She's the spice, but we need a nut. We got Sandy the dried fruit, Kay the spice, and we got the nut, who is Bob McNutt, who is the CEO at this time of the Collins Street Bakery, runs the company, and he also got a personality to himself. He had something in his office that, as a quote, and this is what he would say to people when you maybe come in, just to give you some idea of who Bob McNutt is. Josh, this is what he would say sometimes, quoted in the Texas Monthly. I'm sure you've entered my office just so you can see what the world's most handsome CEO looks like up close. A quote attributed to Bobby McNutt.
Bob McNutt.
Yeah, Josh, open up image 4 if you'd like to. Given that I just told you,
Bob McNutt.
That's what are your feelings here?
I see a guy who's self-assured. He looks standing outside his bakery in his business casual, his arms crossed. Looks like he got a nice watch. A little balding, middle-aged guy, but he seems to have a confidence.
He's got the confidence. So you put Sandy in the middle of this. You got the itty bitty Sandy. You got what did we say about Kay? What did we say? I gotta remember that.
She's great big.
The great big, and then you got Bob, and I think you described Bob correctly. Confident.
Yeah.
Just something about him. Somebody who would say, given that picture, that you've entered the world's most handsome CEO. And you get Sandy. So we're just trying to, give, Sandy some incentive here as to why he did this. Because Sandy's in the middle of these two people. He's invisible. Do you feel, Josh, that we've set up enough for Sandy to say, I'm going to break bad. I'm going to do something.
Well, the question I'm thinking of is, was Bob McNutt someone who was in on the conspiracy or someone who Sandy was out to show, just wanted to take him down a notch? Because he looks like someone you would want to take down a notch. Perhaps.
Bob is not involved. And your former part of this is right, is that Bob may have gotten the ire of Sandy.
Oh, yeah.
So this is building. Remember, he was hired in 1998, right, as the accounts receivable and payroll clerk. And then he rises to corporate controller. And so all of this stuff is in the background, right? He has he has Kay. I get Sandy and Kay confused sometimes. Sandy is the controller, Kay is his wife. And so this is building in him, right? This need to be visible. This is the feelings that maybe he's not doing enough for his wife, Kay. And then this Bob character. So this all comes to his mind in December of 2004. This is when Sandy decides to break bad or bake bad. That just came to me.
That's
trademark. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. All of this comes in and he steals for the first time, right? And so we're going to get into the opportunity. So we set up the incentive, I think, and now we're going to get into the opportunity. His first action wasn't all that big at all, but it leads to other bigger, bolder fraud and embezzlement. So how do you think Sandy started, Josh? What do you think he did to start?
I think so often this type of thing starts with like, oh, I'm a little bit of debt, I'll just pay it off. It's like a little trickle down effect of like, I'll do this thing, I'm going to pay it back for sure. And it goes from there. But I don't know. If this was out of malice, maybe he's like, you know what, they're not going to miss this $1,000 or I'm very curious.
So he's the corporate controller, right? He has access to a lot of things. You've worked in a number of jobs, right? And I remember going to working at McDonald's, thing called petty cash.
Oh.
Right? The cash is sort of lying around that you might use for incidentals. Yeah. That's where it starts. He takes some money out of petty cash. And just to see, just to get that incentive activated. And he thought he would get caught. And again, if you look at his picture, it just feels like you would never think this person would steal, right? And given his personality, so nobody notices that. And guess what? Nobody notices him. He's still invisible. He stole money. And so now he wants to make himself more visible. He wants to move up, right? And so Josh, he's going to escalate here, but if you wanted, and you pointed this out before, maybe we'll see if you come back to it. If you wanted to buy something to make yourself more visible, what would you buy? And maybe what would Sandy buy? We'll put ourselves in Sandy's head.
I'd buy a motorcycle. Not just a nice car. I'd buy a motorcycle, be like, oh, you know what? Sammy rode in on, you see what Sandy rode in on? That hog he rode, they call them hogs,
The
right?
hog.
In
You asked
Texas?
me? Why would I know that? I think I saw, there's a movie called Wild Hogs, right?
Wild
With John
Hogs.
Travolta.
Yeah.
And somebody else that they
Or
both
a
fit
hat.
in that movie.
Maybe a 10-gallon hat. Something.
A 10-gallon hat.
Well, I don't know. I think a
That would
leather
definitely make
jacket, a motorcycle.
Well, you're in the ballpark here with a vehicle, but remember he's a CPA. He's an accountant. I'm not sure if he's a CPA. You know, the motorcycle might be a bit risky for us, just to put you in our minds. But you're right. He bought something to stand out. It was a vehicle. It was a gold Lexus sedan, which he couldn't afford. So he bought this maybe late 2024. And then the question is, he's now in debt. He couldn't pay for it, but he bought it. It's going to make him seem visible. But the petty cash theft won't do it. And so the question is, how is he going to pay off the credit for this? He's in debt. And this is the question. What do you think he would do? And Josh, this is going to come back a little bit to episode 1. And so we can go broad here. He's the corporate controller. He has access to things. There's something that happened in the Toronto airport heist that's going to be a theme in this case, too. What do you think that is?
Separation of something. It's like people don't have. The guy has access to the money shouldn't be the one who's doing the reports. That kind of thing.
Josh, you've earned that beautiful gift in that box, whatever it is. You're close on the term. Segregation of duties. You're absolutely right,
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
So Sandy's got access to stuff, okay? And he can make things disappear because he has access to the accounting records. And he has access. I'm getting really excited for this part, Josh, because this will also tie back to the Toronto airport heist, believe it or not. Not only segregation of duties. My mind, I want to jump the steps to get to this question, but I'm not. So he needs to get something that will help him pay for this sedan. I don't even know what a sedan is. Is that a bigger car? I'm not good with cars. Well, this
Like
Lexus,
a 4-door
okay?
regular car.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Obviously, I don't know much about things on the road.
I don't know.
Maybe I've replaced that with too much knowledge about fruitcake, though. That might be a problem. I'm going to have to make sure I dump this fruitcake knowledge out of my head at the end of this episode. So, Josh, what do you think he steals or embezzles to get access to a lot more cash? What do you think he does?
I mean, stealing from payroll, that would be noticed pretty quick.
Ooh, yeah, so that would be noticed. So he doesn't do that.
Stealing from
And
inventory funds or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, you could also think maybe he just steals a bunch of fruitcakes and sells it on the black market for fruitcakes and makes $17 million. That's what I thought. There's a black
eBay.
market for fruitcakes
On
on
Etsy.
eBay. Because I think they could be used as weapons of mass destruction, to be honest with you. You harden them, you put them into some sort of cannon, and I think that they could kill these fruitcakes over time.
Militaries around the
because-
world, don't have access to American fruitcakes, but he was their guy.
He could bring American fruitcake to bad actors around the world, and we could have been in a terrible timeline. But he decided not to do that. But that's where I would have went. Josh, it's checks, check fraud.
Ooh.
So, which is defined by the American Certified Fraud Examiners, which I will hopefully soon become one. CFE, I'm writing my exam
Nice.
to get more bona fides around fraud. Uses deception to gain an illicit benefit through a check. So, on January 25th, 2004, the credit card payment is due for that gold Lexus sedan. Gold, that's a crazy color for a car, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a
Oh, wait,
show off.
that's
color.
another tie-in. I didn't even think about that. Gold. Another tie-in to episode 1 on the gold heist. So many callbacks. So he uses the access. Remember, he has segregation of duties to get into the checkbook software to write a check for $20,000 to CitiCard, okay? And it was produced with an automatic sign-off. So he could produce a check, and it had a signature that was printed out. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I gave something away, Josh. Just forget that part if you didn't notice it, but I'll get back to it. Who do you think the signatory was, though? Who do you think was the automatic signature on this check?
Probably that. If I were to forget exactly what you just said, I would say the world's most handsome CEO had the sign off. You know, for an amount, you would think for an amount of that significance, more than $500, maybe the CEO is the guy who has to sign off. Or the CFO. I don't know if that's different from a controller.
He's the CEO. He's the top nut at the company. Bob McNutt. You are absolutely right. And it doesn't need him to sign the check. The check automatically gets signed. Segregation of duties. Josh. Now, I gave this part away. This is the part I want. Maybe I'll come back to this with energy. Josh, you got access to the checks. Sandy writes a check. Bob's signature is already on the check. How is this check obtained? Where does Sandy get this check from?
Well, you mentioned something interesting to me, that there's a checkbook software. And I'd never heard of that. I always think of checks like something my grandma would send me for my birthday, you know.
Oh, that's sweet.
So, and this is 2004, so I guess people are still using
2004.
checks. And it seems like, to me, maybe this is just something it's like they're trying to get rid of checks, so they've sort of automated it with software, but it's just a click of a mouse, I'm guessing.
Click of the mouse, but this is 2004. So maybe you didn't hear this part. I'm glad. This is a connection to the Toronto airport heist, Josh. Remember we talked about lasers. We talked about protecting something with lasers.
There was something about a printer?
A printer, Josh. We're back to the printer.
Okay.
It's a printer. The check runs through the software, but it's back in 2004. It's printed out.
Yeah.
With McNutt's signature already on this. And well, they're Bob's your uncle at this point, because now he can print checks with Bob's signature already, and he literally takes off from here, Josh. So we got a printer, and I just like to point out, Josh, no lasers on this printer. Nothing to protect this printer. I don't know if you wanted me to look at what HP inkjet 2004 serial number.
So you're
248.
saying there's no passcode for this printer. The controller is allowed to print whatever he wants. And
the signature is already there.
Jesus.
So this is already you don't have to be a fraud examiner to understand there's serious internal control issues. A check at this amount should have a physical signature that Bob McNutt reviews. And then the printer access, and then the accounting record access. And then you got Sandy's sweet face. Because remember, 2004 is when this starts.
Yeah.
Really, 2005, really. And it doesn't end until 2013, $17 million later, okay? So this is the fraud. This is
almost
the fraud.
a decade.
Almost a decade.
Just printing off checks.
With McNutt's signature on it. And I think, as I said before, Josh, lasers on printers is the fundamental takeaway from this show. And I hope our listeners get that into their hearts. For wherever you hold your fruitcake, metaphorically, get your lasers on your printer. If you have a printer, put lasers on them. Lock them up.
Lock them up.
Fence them up. Yeah.
I just want to say they did pretty good from 1896 until 2004. They hadn't had to lock up their printers, and things were going fine. And I mean, I guess you could just for thinking about, like, you know, this is a small community in Texas. You trust people. I just feel like there's like, you look at Sandy Jenkins and you're like, you know what? That we hired this guy. He doesn't have the balls to try anything, so we're not going to worry about that.
Not only did he have the balls, he had the nuts to do this.
The nuts.
The McNuts to do this, Josh. And yeah, I mean, you're right. It's you got to look at culturally too, right? You said you have connections in Texas, so there's a trust that I got. I understood that from Texas Monthly.
Handshakes,
Handshakes and the lovable face. I would just keep looking at Sandy's picture. I'm like, Sandy is Walter White, but not like Walter White got a little nuts. I think Sandy was always the same kind of guy,
Yeah.
kind of nondescript. So at this point, this is the fraud. The access to the printer, McNutt's signature on it, and Kay knows because at this point they're going to be spending approximately $100,000 a month to pay off their credit card for the next 9 years, 2004 to 2013. Ends up being close to $17 million. This is the fraud. There's nothing more I would add. Opportunity, segregation of duties. Yeah, this is. And again, you might ask the same question from the Toronto airport heist. Why didn't somebody notice this? We'll get into that. But Josh,
Yeah.
$100,000 a month in credit cards. They're spending money. They got access to the McNutt checks. The McNutt, who like Sandy now is like, I'm gonna be visible now, McNutt.
I don't know how he's doing this because you're in this small community. People talk. You show up in a
People
new
do
car.
talk.
People talk.
Well,
You show up in new, whatever.
this is where Josh. This is what I'm gonna ask you. Something. I have the FBI report, okay,
Yeah.
of what was actually purchased over this time, okay.
Yeah.
Josh, give me a few things. And remember, Kay is not involved in the fraud, but Kay is all of a sudden getting access to a lot more money and a lot more things. And Kay has a need to feel higher status in Corsicana. So does Sandy. So you got access to this, $60 million over 9 years. What do you think they spent their money on? Give me some items that they spent their money on, and I'll tell you what the FBI report
In Texas,
disclosed.
you want a big house, and
Mm-hmm.
you want a nice car, which they got covered. You also want to feel like a pillar of the community. Maybe you're donating to the church, and you're kind of letting people know, because it seems like status and non-invisibility are factors in this. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're hosting a big parties, but you can't just be like, you can't drive up. I mean, you wouldn't want to buy a Ferrari. You'd probably get someone blowing the whistle there.
Yeah, Josh, you're going to be surprised when I tell you what they spent their money on. I did not see donations to a church.
Huh.
Because if we look at Sandy, put up that picture. Let's just look at that picture of Sandy and Kay together.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Sandy and Kay.
It looks so nice.
Yeah, that's why your heart went to like donating to the church and maybe giving back to the community in Corsicana. They did not, as far as I know. They did not. Josh, you had an idea where this picture was taken. Remember, what did you say?
It looks like a plane.
Yes, it was a private plane, Josh. Here is a list of things. Feel free to comment on these. From the FBI report, 223 trips on private jets to Santa Fe, New Mexico, Aspen, Colorado, Napa, among other places. Okay?
So they're jet
that's-
setters. They're flying somewhere else, living large, and then they kind of have to come back to their modest life.
Oh, modest life, Josh. Modest as a fruitcake. And I'm just telling you, fruitcakes are modest. They just present themselves with all the fruit and nuts and all the craziness. So they on a trip to Santa Fe. This is from the FBI report. A $658,000 4-bedroom adobe house far removed from the street, replete with porches, exposed beams, and a rock fireplace.
Oh.
I got more for you, Josh. I'll let you. You feel free to comment as.
But this
as
is in
say
Santa Fe. This isn't in Corsicana.
They had stuff all over the place, Josh.
Oh, okay.
They decided to make themselves not just visible, but giants of the earth. Jenkins purchased, and it says Jenkins with an S, so I think the FBI is seeing them as a unit.
Mm-hmm.
How many vehicles? Guess a number of vehicles, Josh. How many vehicles do you think they purchased?
I want to say 17 now because
38. 38.
What?
38. Lexus, Benz, Bentleys, Porsches. Oh,
These people want to go to jail.
What
other explanation?
Well, they want to be visible.
They want to be visible.
Like, to be honest with you, you need 38 vehicles. I mean, 37, you're still invisible. Sandy I know, it's crazy. This is from the FBI. By the way, this is also from the FBI report. Sandy and Kay Jenkins purchased a new automobile every time they needed an oil change. There's an old saying, go fruitcake or go home. And they went fruitcake.
Full fruitcake.
They went full fruitcake. Josh, I got more. I'm not done. I'm not done, Josh.
Please
Here's more from the FBI report, okay? The evidence at sentencing also established that a significant portion of stolen funds were spent at Neiman Marcus at North Park in Dallas, where Sandy and Kay had nicknames. What do you think their nicknames were? Now, this one, you could go back to the theme. They had nicknames.
Oh.
At Neiman Marcus.
Well, it wasn't itty bitty.
But it's you can think more about the company they worked for.
Right. Oh, the Fruitcake Fortune Fantastic Duo.
I like that one. I like the Fruitcake Fortune Fantastic Duo. And not only is it an alliteration, I think it makes sense as a power couple, but Fruitcake and Cupcake, respectively.
That's
respectively.
Which one was Fruitcake?
Sandy was Fruitcake. And Kay Jenkins. This is from the FBI report, by the way. I'm reading this word for word from the FBI report.
Wow.
The government further proffered at sentencing that the Jenkins stopped shopping at Neiman Marcus when Neiman's ran out of things to sell.
What did they sell there? What is that store?
Neiman Marcus is kind of like, it's like a luxury brand of, for Canada, it's like the Bay, even though that company's gone now. It's like a department store.
It's like a fancy, like a
Nordstrom's,
household goods,
but more fancy. Like they got department store clothes, furniture, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But they would be on the upper end of the price range, right?
Yeah.
So they spent over $11 million to pay down their Black American Express card, which is about $100,000 a month over the course of this scheme. And again, I should point out that salary was $50,000 per year from being the corporate controller.
Wow.
Josh, at this point, what are your thoughts here now? Let's take a pause. We're going to get into rationalization at some point. But what are your thoughts here as I've listed off the things they spent?
I can believe they're spending without sort of, like in the back of their head, I think they know they're going to get caught. But they're like, you know what? We're not invisible anymore. Let's enjoy this. And there was just too great a temptation to pass up. But what really bugs me is how did they do this for a decade? And no one in their community or town blew the whistle on them all this time. Like it seems so incompetent.
That is exactly what you're thinking, and it's what I'm thinking. Like, the list of things I just told you would have, in a small community, relatively small in Corsicana, Texas, would have had people talking.
Yeah.
I mean, they already talk about Sandy and Kay before all this. People were talking. Why didn't anybody go, this guy's a corporate controller making maybe $50,000. Kay was doing some stuff, but not enough to be buying these many vehicles, private jets.
Looking at Neiman Marcus stuff online.
Yeah.
It's $1,000 pair of shoes. They're really high end. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, they're really high end. So they weren't messing around with this, right?
Crossbody ingrained leather bag from Tom Ford, $3,450. They bought out the store. Incredible.
So it's a crazy amount of stuff that they bought, right? Not just at Neiman Marcus, but throughout this whole thing, they're just buying all kinds of crazy stuff. So your question, Josh, why didn't anybody say anything? Why wasn't there suspicion? Well, what do you think it was? Because this wasn't discovered through people asking where this money was coming from. We'll get into how this was uncovered. But what do you think it was that allowed people to accept these increased expenditures?
My guess
from Sandy and Kay
is that people knew, but there was some reason why they couldn't say. I bet that CEO was tipped off at a certain point, but he was afraid of losing his job. The whole town relies on this company. It's embarrassing to the company. I feel like there was incentives to not speak out.
So you think people knew and didn't say anything? It would make sense, but that's not my reading of this.
Huh.
Josh, take a look at the picture of Sandy and Kay. Look at them again. Let's look at them together. I'm going to bring them up and look at them.
Yeah.
Look at them. And remember, we're in Texas, of course, Canada. People trust each other.
They can be like,
community.
We inherited, Sandy's
we
mother.
inherited the money. Yes. That was one. So one of the things is, hey, we got some inheritance. So there's a mix of explanations that's related to sort of this idea of who the couple was. Like, you wouldn't think these two people would ever do anything wrong, would ever break bad or bake bad. And so they said inherited money. They said they were flipping these cars. These cars where we buy and then we sell it. We make, we pay off one with another.
Yeah.
What about the private jets, Josh? What do you think the jets, where do you think that came from?
I mean, if people knew they were taking private jets, how could
They did.
They could just be like, well, her cousin has a jet company. Really?
That's exactly what they said. Josh,
that's like the dumbest.
They said, we have a cousin, and they loan us some jet planes to fly around with. And, like I got a cousin. He's got get a few jets. That's no big deal. We got a mixed nuts of explanation. Inherited money, flipping assets, a cousin who is loaning him planes. I don't know. McJet. I don't know who this cousin is. I would ask more questions. If somebody said to me, hey, I have a cousin who loans me his private jets to travel on, would you have a follow-up question?
I would. And also I'd be like, hey, can I get in? Can I come? Can you loan me the jet? Like, if someone has wealth, they're going to get everyone coming out of the woodwork to borrow money. But they're presenting themselves as, we're not wealthy. We've got a couple of connections. Yeah, we got the house. But, they live in Texas. Everybody has a big house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this cover works. So you're right. Bob McNutt is not. Now there is issues inside the company, because one of the issues is that they had, remember in the history of the College Street Bakery, I mentioned that they were mail order fruitcakes, but then they decided to open up physical stores, bricks and mortar stores. Mm-hmm. And so they did this in the time that Sandy was there, but it didn't look that these stores were profitable. Mm. Okay? They're like, and so Bob McNutt and others, there's another person I'll introduce, were like, we're not, like, let's do an analysis of the expenses. And it didn't unveil the fraud. They just thought, you know what, the bricks and mortar storefronts just aren't selling very well. Huh. So that didn't uncover it either.
So those stores were like doing gangbusters, and
the company was doing all right. I mean, the $17 million is out of the company. That's a big number.
That doesn't even seem like that amount would cover their expenses, though. Like,
I guess it's over time, right? I mean, that's the other thing. When we say 17 million, it was 100,000 a month. But again, yeah, in hindsight, you would say, where are the auditors? They didn't notice anything. Where are the others that are looking at the numbers? And this is part of the idea of fraud, is when you look at these cases, just like the Toronto airport heist, you might think, in hindsight, it's really easy. But a lot of the things that happen is based on trust and then an element of controls that should be there. This wouldn't have happened if Bob McNutt had to sign checks over $5,000.
Yeah.
Physically signed them. That's the case closed. Maybe Sandy is still stealing, but not to this magnitude, right?
Yeah.
So this is part of the fraud complex here. So let's get back to the nuts and fruits of this case, Josh. I wrote that one down. That one I wrote. I'm reading that one. So we're going to get to rationalization, right? That's the story that Sandy and probably Kay was charged as well. They had to tell themselves. So we've gone through incentive, opportunity. Let's go into rationalization. I didn't see any donations to a church. Maybe they did. It didn't come up in the FBI report. So a lot of this is personal things for themselves. What is the story? Let's just say Sandy. What is the story Sandy told himself to say, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this forever. What do you think?
I mean, as soon as you do it, you've done it. Is even taking the petty cash. Well, I already took the petty cash. Might as well write the check. Well, I already stole $500,000. I guess I might as well keep going because I'm going to go to jail if I get caught anyway. So I think it's to this slippery slope that people feel trapped.
But he kept spending. That's the thing. Not only is he taking it out, they kept on buying things. That's the part. Like, I think there's an element that once you're in it, and you just have to keep going because otherwise you're going to be discovered anyway. But just the things they bought. Like, what do you think they had to tell themselves to justify the private jets, the houses, the cars, the Neiman Marcus trips? There's more, by the way, Josh. There's a lot that they bought. That's kind of crazy. But what do you think they
I
to
don't
buy those things?
I don't know, but I think it points to the your sort of assessment of him at the very beginning with someone who felt invisible. And
Right.
maybe as a couple they felt invisible and low status. And the need for significance, if that's on the top of your needs as a human, you will do what you need to do to keep that going.
That's what I thought. I thought, to me, Sandy, specifically Sandy, I see this case through Sandy's eyes. Sandy said to himself, you know what? I'm underpaid. You know, my dream of working in a funeral home has been thwarted by...
Why didn't he open that funeral home?
That's true. That's a really good question. Could have opened up several funeral homes.
Could have like
but
the Starbucks of funeral homes all around the country.
you could have had the Jenkins funeral home empire. But he needed the money, so I guess he still needed to work at Collins Street Bakery. And Bob McNutt, he sucks. That guy. I hate that guy. I hate fruitcake. I feel he hated fruitcake. Like I hate fruitcake. Fruitcake sucks. Like if you give me a choice between a casket and a fruitcake, I'm taking the casket. I think that's what his
Poor
thought process.
fruitcake.
And then
The real victim in
I
this.
know. I think that is the real victim is fruitcake. Well, we haven't even started. I haven't really told you my thoughts on fruitcake, but and this was gonna make him feel seen. Sandy, we see you, Sandy. Sandy, I'm looking right at you. I see you. I see you, Sandy. And Sandy was seen, and Kay saw Sandy. I feel like they saw each other.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful story of deceit and fraud.
It's Bonnie and
We're not
Clyde a little bit, right?
It's a Bonnie and Clyde, and again, I mean, it's a lot like. I mean,
He and his wife were in this together. It's kind of romantic. He didn't ditch her and take up with a 20-year-old stripper. Like, there's a version of this where he becomes like this. I mean, not that he was a great guy, but he becomes this bad guy in another way. And that didn't happen. It seems like their marriage was intact. Or also, they could probably turn each other in, so maybe they're stuck together. But I hope they had some fun
Right.
in Santa Fe. And it seems like maybe they did.
oh, they definitely had fun in Santa Fe. I mean, they had fun everywhere they went. I mean, they were the talk of the town. They were debutantes. They were like high society.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, there was no stripper. There was no, like, they were in it together.
Yeah.
And again, just like the airport heist, I don't think we were advocating for couples fraud. We weren't advocating for gold heist. Josh, you were advocating
The only
for
thing
gold
we're
heist.
advocating is segregation of duties. That's all we ask.
We are.
From the
But
world.
I mean, honestly, if you're going to commit fraud, it's good to do it with your soulmate. Do it together.
I mean, I want to see this movie. Like, I feel like this is, you know what? This is an Oscar-winning roles for both of them.
Do you know, I read about a movie version of this. Do you know who was potentially going to play Kay?
Oh,
I didn't really see who was going to read Sandy. This could have been like Reddit, but
I
I
don't
think it was
know.
legit. Jennifer Gardner.
wow. Too beautiful.
I,
You know,
I didn't think that.
You just need two
yeah.
regular people. You need
I thought Melissa
need
McCarthy
Patton Oswalt,
and-
Melissa McCarthy.
and Melissa McCartney.
I'm in.
Yeah, but yeah, you can see there's a great romance and movie in here. So here we have to come to the end of days, the end of the fruitcake line for Sandy and Kay. So it started off with petty cash in 2004, ended nearly $17 million, and 9 years later ended on June 21st, 2013, formally. That really it's really happened very quickly. He was discovered on June 20th, 2013. The fruitcake was up. Josh, oh my gosh, there's way too many. I'm just going to keep going with it. I'm in it now. I'm in it like one of those nuts that's in the fruitcake that you see, but then there's that other one that's hidden that just sneaks up on you and you go, no, I don't like this. I'm sorry. I'm giving into my feelings. Josh, how do you think the fraud was discovered on June 20th, 2013? What happened here?
In a narrative approach, like I would think, well, there's part of him that wants to be seen. Maybe he feels seen, or maybe he's like, you know, what would be really seen is if I got caught. He does something so reckless that people just can't ignore it.
What would that reckless thing be, Josh, if he did this?
I think he leaves a paper trail. He leaves a check lying around. He does something careless. Maybe also he's getting
funny.
careless. It's been a decade.
You're, you know what?
Subconsciously, he wants to get caught.
That's so interesting. I wasn't going to go down this road, but you've made a really good point because I know how this was discovered, but I never thought about it. He was getting careless for sure, but I never thought about it being subconscious. That's so funny because it was a mistake, and you could have not done this, right? So I never thought about that. That's really interesting. Maybe he wanted to get caught and said, "This is over for me." I feel like his inner voice, his inner fruitcake, was talking to him. I did not look the name pronunciation. I'm hoping Symmetric Walker, an accountant. She was hired in December 2011. The Texas Monthly describes her as young, in her 30s. Semetric. Symmetric. I've never heard that name. It's actually a really nice name.
Cool name.
Hopefully I'm symmetric. I might be saying that because I'm thinking of the word metric and C, but whoever you are out there, write to the show. We have an email address we'll give out and correct my pronunciation.
Yeah.
So she was hired in 2011. She's an accountant working for Sandy. On June 20th, 2013, Symmetric had been looking over bank statements as part of her job and found a check made out to Capital One, which she knew Collins Street Bakery didn't use as somebody to pay for credit. And she was a good accountant, as we all are, except for Sandy. No, I'm just joking. There's some bad apples there, but she went up and asked Sandy, "There's a discrepancy with this check. Can you help me understand this?" And so, Josh, you're looking at Sandy, like, you're an actor. This is a direct question about a check that he has written to himself. And now he's being confronted by this by Symmetric Walker.
Yeah.
How do you think Josh, or not Josh, I'm thinking about you, but how do you think Sandy reacted to this question?
Just be like, I would put it down as something like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It's just this thing I've been helping I'd throw what's his face under the bus, the world's most handsome CEO. It's like
Bob.
his
Nice.
Bob asked me to do it. He always pays it back. It's like this workaround for tax reasons. We do this." Yeah.
You're brilliant, Josh, because you have an improv background. You're quick on your feet. This is why the world needs actors. We're super smart, fast. But Sandy is none of those things. Sandy gets asked that question, and all Symmetric sees is panic on Sandy's face. He does not offer up that explanation, which may have been a little bit easier to move along. He just looks panicked. And it's clearly evident to her, to Symmetric Walker, that something is off here. She goes into full Batman mode. Batman. And says, I'm gonna like a dog with a fruitcake in its mouth. It just says, "I'm not gonna let this go." And she starts to figure this out.
The question he's been dreading for 10 years.
Right.
And I can see how it just is paralyzing when it actually, like, as much as fun as it was and status and all that, like, to me, the worry of being caught, like, he probably hasn't had a good night's sleep in 10 years. Unless it's drug-induced.
Well, he might have overdosed on some fruitcake at some point. You have too many, and you got lucid dreams for sure.
He seems like a comfort eater. No disrespect, Sandy. That's the only... Patton Oswalt.
Well, we don't know what
No disrespect,
preservatives
Patton.
are inside those fruitcake. No, we can't disrespect the great Patton Oswalt, but those fruitcakes do stay alive for a long time, and maybe if you eat too many, but I don't think he ate fruitcake. I think he hated fruitcake. I think fruitcake was his nemesis. It was his Iago. I don't like fruitcake. And so
I love an Othello
here we
reference.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite. We needed an Othello reference here, I thought, because of all the fruitcake references, and we just change it up a bit. So here we have, and then again, those that have read Othello, you remember the important fruitcake scene between Desdemona and Othello. Go look it up. Really a critical part of their relationship that really summarizes what happened to them. So Sandy had a boss. Sandy's boss was Scott Halomo, and they were friends. They because remember, Sandy and Kay grew up quickly with this new social status, and so Symmetric didn't want to go to Scott because he didn't want to She didn't know what to say. So she started to investigate and found more discrepancies around $400,000 worth. And she said, you know what? I have to go to Scott now. And this is what she told, this is from the Texas Monthly, told Scott, well, she told Scott, and then Scott said, oh, this looks bad. And Scott told Bob. This is what Scott told Bob McNutt once he felt like Symmetric was right, that it looks, this is the quote, it looks like we found Sandy Jenkins embezzling money. Scott told Bob. What do you think Bob replied with? Bob McNutt.
I would think he would be in denial at first. You know, he's been with the company 10 years. It's going to make Bob McNutt look bad. So I would think he'd be skeptical, at least at first.
Yeah, you know, Bob McNutt is an interesting character. He's a confident person. You know what he said? Well, that explains a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's from Texas Monthly. So come on, Sandy? No. It seems like Bob McNutt also, because at this point, this is just a little bit more information. Sandy's moving up in social status, is outbidding him at auctions, outbidding Bob McNutt.
Oh.
And so it sounds like it clicked in Bob's mind very quickly. So the next day, on June 21st, 2013, this is like the big showdown. Sandy's brought into the office where, you know, you could look, Bob McNutt is there. Maybe even Symmetric Walker is there and Scott's there. And they asked them, like, what is going on with these checks? And Sandy, not quick on his feet. What do you think his response was?
What could you possibly say?
Not you, Josh. Sandy, it's all coming to a close for him.
You know what? In a way, he's getting what he wanted, right? In a way, he's like, now you see me. Maybe this is like, you know what?
That would be great.
I started with petty cash. Nobody noticed. You guys thought I was a loser. I have been doing this right under your noses for 10 years. You're the idiots, and I don't care. And I'm only going to go to jail for 18 months. I looked it up. It's going to be fine.
Oh, my gosh. What a way to go down. And Josh, you know what?
He didn't do that, did he?
He did not do that. But I'm pretty sure he went back because he got fired very soon after what he said. I'm pretty sure he went back and had one of those, you know, Costanza moments, like with the shrimp. You know, remember that shrimp episode where he wanted a comeback line? He probably said, you know what? I could have told him about exactly what you said, petty cash and all this stuff. And now do you see me, McNutt? Do you see me now, McNutt? He said, I write checks for the bakery.
Oh.
And then got fired.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. He departed as he arrived.
Didn't make a scene.
Not make a scene. Just came in. Went back to being invisible. And here we have, Josh, the fruit case is closed.
Oh,
It's closed on
that's a nice
Sandy.
one.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That one I wrote down. So you might be wondering what happened to Sandy and Kay. Josh, take a look at image number 5. Take a look.
Okay, I see people loading, it looks like evidence boxes. Looks like maybe from their house. I don't know if these are agents or movers or something.
Well, it's hard to tell, but that, I believe, is the FBI. That they're taking stuff from the home. So on September 16, 2025, so they are charged with embezzlement and fraud. Sandy Jenkins was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Ed Kincaid to serve a total of 120 months in federal prison. What did you say?
Oh.
120 months, how many is that? Why can't I do the math? That's
You
a
got
lot of
10
months,
years.
isn't it?
You got
10 years. What did you say?
I was thinking 18 months.
Oh, yeah, so he got a lot. This is a lot more.
Yeah.
120 months in federal prison. The interesting part of this, he's only allowed to be fed fruitcake in that time, which is I thought was an unusually cruel punishment from Judge Kincaid.
I would love, now the good state of Texas gives us discretion in our sentencing. And God bless this wonderful state. Fruitcake is what you will eat. for 120 months, fruitcake.
Oh, the sweet, sweet justice is served. Sweet, hardened, forever living justice. So, yes, and Kay is sentenced to 5 years probation. Kay was also further ordered to complete 100 hours of community service and to submit a formal apology in writing to the bakery.
Wow,
the bakery.
She won this deal. Like, there's my cat.
Yeah.
She got
The
probation.
cat heard fruitcake, and I'm like in on this. Yeah.
That is, I mean, she didn't commit a crime. She knew about a crime.
No.
Or maybe
Did she,
committed a
Josh?
crime.
Did she know? I mean,
you
know, the jets, the houses, the cars, maybe.
Maybe he told her, an inheritance, you know?
Yeah, the cousin that she's never met, the inheritance from the person in the family.
She knew, and she knew. You know.
But you know what I feel like, Josh? I felt like Sandy went to Judge Kincaid and said, Judge, you're going to give me 5 years, give me 10. Just don't do anything to Kay. Just make sure it's community service. Never have her eat fruitcake as a form of punishment.
I would love that.
I don't know if that's true, but I feel like that it's a denouement for our story.
I also feel like Kay's lawyer was like, look, just give them everything they want and they'll take it easy on you. They had sort of a agreement, is my suspicion.
Yeah, like, I think that's what it was. And that just, you look at that couple and, you know, it's kind of like Breaking Bad a little bit, you know.
Little Bonnie and Clyde.
Even Bonnie and Clyde, Breaking Bad.
Christmas special.
Yeah, the fruitcake Christmas special. I believe Sandy did that. And this is the end for them. What's interesting about this is, so I've given you a lot of the background for this case, and it really comes from the FBI report and the Texas Monthly. There's other sources, but those are the two big ones. So many thanks to them. There's also the website. If you go to the website, I sent you a link.
Yeah.
We won't go through this in detail, but they have a link where they go through what they call, look at this title. They call it the Sandy Jenkins embezzlement scandal.
Oh, they didn't come up with a clever headline, did they?
No, I don't think they like fruitcake puns. They use it if it's positively framed, sure, but not in this case. The white collar crime that shook our bakery to the core. And there's that picture of Bob McNutt standing like Superman saying, you know what? He drove a heart through our fruitcake business, but we came back stronger. What's interesting about this, if you take a look at it, it's just kind of an interesting spin on it. Listen, one of the quotes, however, just as time transforms tragedy into comedy, it also transforms embarrassment into education. So the spin on this for College Street Bakery is that, because it's embarrassing, right? You ask the question, how come Bob McNutt? How come Scott? How come anyone in the company didn't say, what are all these really like expensive things these guys have? Where is this coming from? So it makes the company look bad. So this page does go through the detail, but what a lot of it does, it kind of sets up the fact of why it wasn't discovered. Like, there's a whole part on distinguishing between the crime and the cover-up. Listen, I know you're probably looking at us and saying, hey, come on, why didn't you notice this earlier? And I think the case is made on this webpage to say this is hard to find, embezzlement, and it goes out to lay a different sort of framing, so to not make Bob McNutt look so bad. This is a hagiography for Bob McNutt. They got the guy. It happened. It's interesting.
So Bob didn't lose his job. He's still in charge, I guess, or was.
He's still in charge, and he's the CEO. He's part of the family-owned business. But I think part of this is they're owning this fraud on the website. It's not on the timeline,
right? Yeah,
but it's also it's actually quite sweet in some ways. I read some of the quotes. I think it's just a normal human beings that find themselves in a situation. They have an opportunity and they succumb to greed. That's it. Many of them think, I'm going to pay this back. I'm not a criminal. If you look at the big quotes they have in this, a lot of it is, trying to humanize this, but say this is part of our history, and we kind of own it, but also we're not as obvious as we look in the way maybe the media has portrayed this.
Sure, and it is also a testament to the endurance of fruitcake. Amazing this company could survive embezzlement of this scale selling fruitcake. Like, I'm just saying this must be a great business.
Well, listen, what do we know about fruitcake, Josh? What do we know? It survives.
1896.
Fruitcake, the company survives.
Yeah.
The cake itself survives. They probably have fruitcake from 1896 still in their
Yeah.
inventory.
Vintage
It,
premium fruitcake. It's aged
premium.
like wine.
I think you need a fruitcake sommelier for fruitcake to really understand the value of aged fruitcake. But yeah, that's the story. And having told the story with you, I'm emotional. I didn't think it'd hit me in the heart.
This one kind of got me. The
Got me, right?
relationship,
It got you too.
the funny Bonnie and Clyde like romance, the invisibility. As awful as this fraud is, the human dimension of like, why would you even consider this is kind of heartbreaking.
It is. It is a heartbreaking case, and as I said before, and we've talked about this before, we're not condoning fruitcake fraud at any company that sells fruitcake. But maybe if you do it as a couple, we'll allow it.
Yeah. Like I've just
You do
been
it as
staring at this
romantically-
couple the whole time, and I'm like, oh, just Sandy and Kay.
Yeah. The only sort of cognitive dissonance is that when you told me, like, they probably donated to church, and I'm like, I kind of want to look more into that now. I want to hope that they maybe did something for the community, because a lot of the indictment, and maybe the FBI is not incentivized to say, hey, they also, spent, $2 million on a shelter for puppies or something. But
Right. Doesn't seem
so
like
that's the only thing. It just seems like they went all in on themselves and being visible. But again,
they
know,
ran
Sandy.
out of things to buy from Neiman Marcus.
they ran out of things to buy, which is it's just pretty amazing. Fruitcake and cupcake ran out of things to buy. Josh, we're coming to the end of this. I just want to give you some of the things we learned from this. One, and we're also, by the way, if you've been with us to the end, yes, of course, we're gonna have a package opened. We're gonna open a package. We don't know what it is. We know what it is.
We have no idea.
But we have no idea. But what's interesting about the takeaways when it comes to fraud, right? I mean, it's so important to have preventative controls, right? Just the check. It's the check that got signed and the printer, and then the segregation of duties, right? I mean, ultimately, Bob McNutt should have been approving checks over a certain amount. That would have just limited the damage. I mean, maybe Sandy would have still stolen, but not to this amount. And that's something that we learned on the Toronto airport heist too, how important it is to consider this. Because once this sort of happens and you accept the narrative, it's really hard to like see anything other than Sandy and Kay have an amazing cousin.
Yeah. Their cousin. God bless that cousin.
God bless the cousin. I don't have a picture of the cousin. I wish I did. I wish they probably had a picture of the cousin. Here's cousin Jenkins
Yeah.
from Idaho. Yeah. Private jet company. I'm trying to remember the name of the 6 Feet Under. I'm surprised he didn't, do some more 6 Feet Under like reference. Maybe I want to know if he watched the show 6 Feet Under, because maybe that's where he got inspired to want to not only own it, just director. The article just said director, not even
Director.
own, really. Just want to be director of a funeral home. I mean, that's the job
So
that what's his
odd.
name? The brother didn't want to do the entire show. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're moving into funeral homes away from fruitcake. Josh, before I ask you to open the gift, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, just be careful if you're going to take them the petty cash, because it's like that's like the step, that's like the little
Right.
gateway. I feel like it's always something like that, and
The little entryway into that.
the little things, and then you can't take it back. And, yeah.
Josh, we're going to come to a close. We have a couple closing remarks, but Josh, I sent you something from Corsicana, Texas. No spoiler. What do you got there?
I'm
What
so
do you got?
thrilled. It's from the actual bakery, because I'm like, what is this product that's kept them going? Wow. It is a Collins Street Bakery fruit
How hard
cake.
is that cake? Is
Let's
there
see.
like, does it give a bit? If you threw it, would it put a hole in your wall?
Let me see. It's got some
Present
heft.
it.
It's got some
Present it to
heft.
the screen. It's got the walnuts in there, right?
It's got walnuts.
The cherries. The cherries. Oh,
I'm super excited
I'm not-
about this. I've been dreaming
You gonna
about
eat
this for
that?
2 weeks since I sort of knew.
you're gonna eat it?
Oh yeah, my wife and I,
mean,
are
is
gonna have
that
with
a-
coffee today.
Listen, I think fruitcake. It's just like anything, right? Everyone has their tastes, maybe I should revisit it. I did not ship myself once. I want to hear when you eat it what you experienced the fruitcake. If it brings back memories.
Should I take a bite?
You could. Just your teeth are good, right?
My teeth are good.
They're strong.
Your
jaw strength is.
Because I'm very curious.
I mean, it is well known. They make a lot of money. Deluxe. I got you the deluxe. That's the famous fruitcake from College Street Bakery. Take a bite. I'm gonna sort of, Oh, you're just going right into it. You just eat it.
Oh my God, it's really good.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
It is really good.
It's like hearty. It's sweet, but not too sweet. I don't mind the gummy, like the fruity thing. That's the thing I didn't like as a kid. The nuts are good. If I'm a Roman traveling, like a Roman soldier, this is going to keep me going.
Huh. And I haven't seen this in a Huberman podcast about health. But he's missing out something maybe. The way you're enjoying that, I'm gonna give it another shot. You know what it is? Maybe I've eaten the wrong fruitcake. I haven't had a Collins Street Bakery fruitcake. And maybe that's the difference. Now I'm regret not getting myself. I should have sent myself one. I just have I've eaten the fruitcake when I was a kid and it just wasn't my thing. But now that you're eating it, I can see you enjoying it. You took another bite on. I didn't even ask you to take another bite.
It's like a grown-up treat.
A grown-up treat. Huh. All right. Well, listen, so many things have happened on this episode. I got emotional. You got emotional with Sandy and Kay. And now I'm changing my mind on fruitcake.
Yeah.
I'm changing my mind. I'm gonna order myself. I'm gonna order myself a deluxe.
I'm gonna send this to my relatives for Christmas. It's just an easy gift. Not to plug Collins Street Bakery, but
let's plug it. We kind of have to give a negative slant on them. So let's just tell them we've been giving them a hard fruitcake, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, hey, you make a good product, and props to you for making it, and now I want one. So Josh, while you're chewing down on the fruitcake, we've come to an end, and let us know what you think. So I wrote down a conclusion, Josh, and I'm gonna change it because it had me saying this: I hate fruitcake, but I love this story. But I'm gonna change it to I am contemplating fruitcake, and I love this story.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for listening, and to please subscribe and leave us a comment about how you feel about fruitcake. We have an email address, fraudcomplexpodcast@gmail.com. And if you've got fraud cases on your mind you'd like to discuss, let us know. And why don't we close to the sweet sounds of Josh munching through the fruitcake? And
I get to take another bite?
Take another bite and let's let that wash over you.
All right, here we go. Oh man, yeah, I'm full, 2 bites.
We'll see how long the producer wants to let this run.